everyone, today I'll be reviewing Harry and Meghan part 2. So part 1 dropped last week, and when it initially dropped on Netflix, it wasn't a huge hit here, but I see it was a huge hit in the UK. A lot of people like watched that show, and I think it was like the most watched show in the UK, the first part. Now that we have part 2 and the whole like the documentary series, it is available on Netflix. I see it is trending everywhere. Although I thought the part 1 wasn't very, like, it was good, but it wasn't very engaging for audience who are tuning in to see all the juicy stuff. If you didn't like part 1, I must say you should check out part 2, because the part 2, I thought it was quite interesting. And the one episode, Tyler Perry, he comes on and he says his stuff, like his story. I guess for Harry and Meghan, all their stories are always out there and, in headlines. So you know all their story in your mind, even though you are not following them. Even so, you cannot escape their story, because their story is always out there in a magazine, in a news headline, in Twitter, everywhere you go. Their story is always out there, so you cannot skip it. The reason for me I really like part 2, because the part 2 feels like they are giving you some of the information as the audience you want to know. There's a lot of stuff they're giving it, why they give up their like status, and why they left UK, and all, like why they settled down in the US, and all the story about their personal life. I found it interesting. I was like, oh, I didn't know all this thing. I actually never knew anything about it. But when this part 1 dropped, all this hate people give toward them, I really find it really very unreasonable for them to hate them that much, because end of the day, they're just doing their stuff, End of the media is the one who are printing all this news, and all the news about Meghan Markle, like the letter she wrote to her dad. There is like the part 2 is dedicated to, like, she talks a lot about that, how much it was damaging for her personally. And I found it's interesting. Every time Meghan Markle was on the show, she was like trying to say, overall, I will say that when I hear Meghan Markle, she's like always upset, because like all these people are printing news about her. Some of them are really sad. Same time, the way this documentary was done, some part you do feel like, unfortunately, I have to say this, she's kind of like a bragging. She was doing all this thing. I felt sad. Like, why you are, end of the day, when she went to opera, it was really like I know why she went there. But it is really bad, I feel like, because you are went there. These are in the end of the day, your in-laws, your extended family, and you are going there and calling all these people, all this thing, and I'm like, oh, like initially when that interview dropped, I thought it was really juicy. It's always juicy to get someone else personal information out, but end of the day, I feel like I think the reason for her win there, maybe that is the reason she got this deal from Netflix. You know what I mean? End of the day, they're not bad guy or anything. They're just here to tell you how media manipulate their story, and overall, I'm just saying what I think personally they shouldn't have done. Is that means I'm right or wrong? No, I don't know. I'm just telling my opinion based on this documentary series, and because I'm reviewing it as a reviewer, I will say the part 1 was kind of boring the way they told the story. The part 2 is definitely interesting and engaging for audience. Although I don't know if people will be getting out of everything they want from the show, still I think it was quite interesting. All this thing they show, all this personal stuff, and the reason for them to leave their royal duty. I'm glad they cleared it out, because I was always confused. Like, why did you leave your duties? You know what I mean? Although they tried to do their duties from when they were in Canada, but unfortunately they couldn't continue. I guess for Harry's point of view, his second child of this monarchy, end of the day, of course they will protect William, because he's the future king. They want to protect his reputation and his wife, because they are their future monarchy. So I understand why they're protecting him. I think they could have protected him also, but I guess they just don't care about him that much. That is his, I guess, biggest sad about him. When you watch him, I feel sad for him, that reason. But all these people are always hate on him. They have no right to hate on him because they didn't do anything wrong. They're just trying to live their life. And now all these people are saying why they did this documentary with Netflix. Because of course they want to get paid, and Netflix offer them this money. What are they gonna say? Say no to this $100 million? I would say never say no. You know what I mean? Then again, I would not gone to Oprah and tell my personal story, because that was, I feel like she shouldn't have done. Because at the end of the day, now she is talking about her extended family. Although these people were all mean to her, but Oprah is like there to get her. I don't know. And that's my thought on this. Let me know in the comment, what do you think about this documentary? If you enjoyed this review, don't forget my other reviews on other Netflix show and documentaries. If you enjoy this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.